So today I want to make a lure modeled after one of my all-time favorite sci-fi characters. Good old R2-D2. Love this guy. So I'm going to use this as a model to go by. I am not going to make it anywhere near as detailed as this thing. This is a flying model rocket. You put clear fins that screw into the feet here. There's a launch lug back here that you put down over your launch rod. The engine goes here, and he takes off and flies up into the air. Then his head pops off, and there's a parachute in there that brings him down safely. So this is going to be where I get my rough idea of what he looks like, and the painting, again, I am not going to do anywhere near as detailed a job as that. Now, I made some measurements, and like most Vermonters, he is only twice as tall as he is wide. So that's not including his legs, that's just his body here. He's exactly twice as long as he is wide. So I had a 3/4 inch poplar dowel. It's just not going to quite do it. It's going to be a little short and not quite as stout as I'd like it to be. So I wanted an inch. Well, as luck would have it, I have a broken push-broom handle here. And the end of it, of course, is rounded off. So I've already got part of my dome basically. It needs some sanding and work on it, but not nearly as bad. So I cut off a 2-inch piece of that. So this will be my bate. Then I'll have to make some legs, sand them out good. I have to make, it's going to be kind of a pain. The bottom of him comes in a little here, and it's squared off on these edges and then rounded in the front. I'm not going to do all this detailed indentation stuff, but when I'm done, I think when you look at it, you'll be able to go, hey, that's supposed to be R2-D2. He's going to be a top water plug. He's going to have a prop on the back. He should work something like a heading torpedo. I'm going to do some sanding first and try to do the back end of him, and then see what we can do about some legs. I guess it's time to get to work. So I'm kind of getting the rough shape here. This is harder than I thought it was going to be. So I'm just making a thing that looks kind of like a bullet here. So I had to mark, if you can see this. Where's the camera? Come on. Come on. Doesn't really want to focus on that, does it? I've drawn lines around it. And what those lines are, I put the dot on top of them too, kind of like that, to give me a little bit of a reference. But I don't know if you can see this very well. The dome, the silver part, comes up straight right here. And then it starts to slowly curve, and then it curves a little quicker. And is almost flat on top. So I'm trying to get that look. I don't know what kind of wood this is. It's fairly hard. It came from a broom handle, so it should be hard. This may be hard to do. I don't know. So I have to cut in a little ways and then cut at a little bit of an angle on the bottom to get this thing. See, it comes in a little and then it comes down at an angle. I don't know what to, it's going to be hard to do on this round thing, I think. But I've marked it, and I'm going to try it on the bandsaw. not very good. Gonna need to do some work on this, you know. I think I've got the dome about as good as I'm going to get it. It should come out a little more. Yeah, it shouldn't be such a steep angle. This looks more like a bullet than R2-D2, but the bottom, I really screwed up the bottom and I had to repair that. I couldn't find the pieces of wood that cut off. I found one little chunk that I glue in there, but what I did is I just took some baking powder and super glue and filled that in. It's at a little bit of an angle, so I took a little piece of wood, put it there at an angle, held it in place, poured the powder down in there, added the glue, took this away. Then I had to file this down a little to get it right. But if you've never used that, this is a trick that I actually learned when I was working on guitars. You take baking powder or baking soda and you add super glue to it and it hardens almost instantly, and it's wicked hard. It's like a hard plastic, and it works very, very well. So I think it's time to drill some holes where my hooks are going to go and the screw eye in the front, and then we'll dip it. So I'm thinking, because of those legs I'm going to put on here, that if this lands upside down, it's not going to be able to roll over with just the weight of the hook there. So I'm going to go ahead and drill a couple of 1/4-inch holes here and put a little bit of lead in it. Hopefully I don't put too much in there so that it sinks. Okay, not bad. If you've never melted lead before, don't. It's very dangerous. There are videos on how to do it. I'm not going to get into it. There's a lot of little safety things you need to know. I mean, there's obvious things, you know, you wear thick gloves, you should have a face shield on, blah, 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 blah. But there are other little things. If there's a little bit of moisture in here, if you're doing this outdoors to get good ventilation and just one single raindrop falls into your ladle of lead, it'll go all over you. It's like throwing water on a grease fire. And there's other things too, so I don't recommend doing it unless you know what you're doing. So this lead will fall right out, usually if it's not glued in there or something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my baking soda or powder and put some glue on it. Now I can file that and make it nice and smooth. Time to dip it. Probably should have dipped it before I put the lead in. Oh well. Yeah, we'll let that dry. Then we got a lot of painting to do. I got to make the legs. Oh boy, I don't know what I'm going to do with the legs yet. I think I'm going to make them out of bolts of wood because it's easier to work with. And it's also very buoyant because this is kind of a heavy, dense wood that I'm using. And I had to put that lead in there because I was really afraid that it wouldn't float correctly. if it landed upside down it would never flip back over. So balsa is pretty buoyant, so I think I'm going to use balsa wood. So this little lure is starting to become quite challenging. There's a lot to it. I didn't really think this over, but I had to figure out how wide he is compared to how tall he is, where the dome starts, where this little indentation down here starts, and now I'm doing the legs. Well, I have to know how long the legs are, how thick they are this way, how wide they are this way, and they get wider down here than up here, and they're thinner in the middle, and this comes out at a little bit of an angle down here, and there's a lot of math involved. I don't like math. Math is hard. But anyways, I'm figuring it out. Like I said, I'm not going to do a lot of detail on this, but I do want it to look like R2-D2. So I mean, these can't be way too long or short. They can't be way too thick this way or too thin. They have to be fairly close. Fairly close. And I don't know how I'm going to do all this stuff here. This painting and everything on a little tiny lure. This may just be a couple of blue stripes. This may be a little blue rectangle with some silver things on it. I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out. So I figured out the length, at least, that I need these. So I'm going to cut out a block of balsa. And I'm going to figure out how thick it's going to be this way and this way. And then figure out all these little details here. Fun, fun, fun! Alright, I finally figured out the length of these legs and the thickness of them. So I cut those out. Now I think I have the width pretty well. I'm going to cut this out and put it up to the body and see if it looks about right. This is just dimensions. It doesn't have to look real good. But I just want to know if this is going to look about right. And I tell you, if I do another lure like this, where I have to figure out how to get the right dimensions, I'm using the metric system because all these fractions have sucked. Metrics would have been a lot easier. I don't know why I didn't do that. But I've done all the math already now, so I don't need to do anything else. I'm going to cut this out and hold it against the body. I don't like it. It's a little too skinny. Try again. This width looks a little better to me. I think that's pretty much what I'm going to go for. Yeah, that's going to work. Man, now I gotta try to draw a good looking leg. Put it on here and cut it out. Oh boy. So I'm going to glue it down with some glue stick. I think we'll hold it well enough if I'm careful. And then I gotta cut that off. So I think I want to score this a little bit first. I don't want to go too deep right away. Boy, that wood is so soft. And then once you do that, you go just a little deeper and a little deeper until you get all the way through. And this is going to take a while. I need to sand these guys just a little bit. This is very, very soft balsa. So I'm using, I think this is boy, I don't even know what grit this is. It doesn't say. A part that says is ripped off. I think it's only like, it's 400, which is probably a little much. So I'm going very carefully. But I'm going to sand these down, and then I'm going to dip them in some polyurethane. I'll have to dip that other end in later. I don't want to make any holes in this, and I don't dare to put a clamp on this or anything, because it's such soft wood. I just painted his dome. I'll let that dry. The legs, I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of wood filling on those to get those to look quite right. So balsa, I mean, you can really carve it easily because it's so soft, but what happens is you get these little pieces that break off, like, I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's some nasty looking things right there that need to be fixed. So I'm going to put some wood filler on both the legs, sand them a little bit, and then paint them. There. Is he starting to look a little bit like R2-D2? Looks like I got the legs on a little weird, but I super glued them on and they stuck instantly. I've used this super glue on a lot of different things, and it seems to take a while for it to dry. I've had a little bit of work time with it, but for whatever reason, it really sticks to this particular material. So, looks like I gotta possibly paint that silver down just a little bit more. Whew. And then I got a lot of crazy painting to do. I don't know. Oh boy. This head, I think, comes to too much of a point and is a little too long. It looks a little odd. I could sand this down and shape it again and repaint it and all that, but I really don't want to, so I'm not going to. So I have a very, very tiny paintbrush. This is a War Gamer Insane Detail, right? Yeah, the Army Painter is the name of the company. So it's pretty small. I am going to try to paint some stuff on here. I think it's gonna be pretty insane, which is a good reason to have an insane detail brush. I'm hoping when I get his eye done, I call it his eye, this part here, maybe it's going to come to life a little bit. Hey, he's starting to look a little more like R2-D2 now. Once you get the eye, I call that the eye, this little black spot here. I did that with the dipping the nail head in paint, putting it on there. Same with this blue circle up top. That was kind of a pain. I tried to do it freehand, didn't come out. I tried to use a template, but that didn't work very well. So I found a big nail head and dipped it in paint, stuck it on there. Looks pretty good now. All the fine detail, oh, I don't know. See, R2's got a lot of stuff on him there. A lot of stuff that's got some fine black lines here. That's going to be kind of hard to do. I think I'm going to get a super fine marker and try to draw some of that stuff on there, because he looks a little empty right now. So he needs a little more stuff on the front of him there. And I haven't even started the back yet, but we're getting there. I think I'm ready to do some fine detail. All these little black lines here. There's some stuff here on the side. Gotta make it look a little better. So I got an ultra fine tip permanent marker. And I need something flexible for a straight edge. So I have a template here. You can get different templates, different size circles, and if you're into drafting, it would have things for drafting. This is a computer flowchart one I've had since I took computer programming way back when. So that'll be able to bend, and I should be able to draw nice straight lines here. Hopefully. Now I've got a problem already, and that is, as you draw, this starts to pick up paint. So I got to keep going to a piece of paper and cleaning it off. I can't make even a full line as short as that line is right here without cleaning the tip of my pen about 3 times. Okay, so an artist I am not. It was almost impossible to use this template on such a small thing, so I ended up freehanding it all. So everything's kind of crooked and nasty, but got some stuff on the back. Anyways, if you're an artist and you have patience, you could probably make it look pretty good. But again, I'm more about function. The thing is that I think if you just look at that, you've got a pretty good idea who that's supposed to be. So I'm going to have to clear coat them, put some UV blast protectant on it, and put her together and see if bass will eat Mr. R2-D2. So I got a couple of coats of clear coat on them now, and it is time to put my UV blast on. He's not round, so I can't, he's not perfectly round, so I can't spin him while I'm doing this, but he will have to turn when I'm done, or of course this stuff will run down to the bottom and gunk up. He's drying. I'll probably put 2 coats on him. For one thing, I did a lot of elaborate painting on this, and I don't want it to get chipped up right away. I can't wait to get this guy in the water. She's all seal coated. It's time to put her together. I'm going to take a screw eye. I'm going to put one of those little cups on. Oops, I forget my prop. I'm going to use a number 7 prop. I went with red hooks, mostly because it's what I had. So there he is. Looks like he has a little beanie hat on. Oh, I can't wait to catch a fish on this. This is going to be so cool. Well, here he is in all his glory. I was really hoping to get a video of me catching a fish with this guy, but we have had very, very windy days and very rainy days, and we're getting the tail end of some hurricane right now. and I haven't put out a video in quite a while, so I'm just going to have to do it sometime later. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and please subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. And thanks for watching.